I think, unfortunately, Leeds are bigger, faster, stronger, more agile, more intelligent and better connected than Saints. And they've got the home field advantage. It's going to be a tough one for Saints. But, as the old saying goes, never write off the Saints.
Oh, they're going to score! They're going to score! It's going to be a dive for the line for Shane Wright! Have you ever seen anything like that? That is utterly extraordinary!
Hey there, sports fans. How are we? I am good. Well, welcome to the 10 yards back review of the bottom four of the top six eliminator playoffs of the Super League 2025 season. Gosh darn it. What a weekend that was. I mean, can you believe it, eh? Can you believe it? At the time of recording this, it's Tuesday. By the time I finish recording it, it'll probably be Wednesday, the amount I yammer on. And still can't quite believe it. And the benefit of me recording this on Tuesday is that I've got to see all of the fallout from the weekend as well. Unlike probably 76 minutes into that last game when I was planning on taking straight to camera and slagging the world off, which I may still have to do to remain unbiased. So let's have a look at the fixtures for the weekend. This is what I'm talking about. We had 2 eliminator games, not 6 like usual, just 2 games for our rugby league pleasure. Leigh versus Wakefield on Friday. That was 3 versus 6. Leigh versus Wakefield, both teams that have spent time in the championship recently, so nice to see them both in the top 6. And then Leeds versus Saints, that old rivalry sneaking into the playoffs again. The old adage goes, apparently, in the Leeds camp, is that Saints beat Leeds during the season, Leeds beat Saints during the playoffs. Let's see if that was true. But first off, let's start with Friday. Friday Night Lights at the Leigh Sports Village, the most irritating ground in the world. I listened to I really like the Wakefield Trinity Heritage podcast. I listened to Jamie and Lee on there, and Lee went to this game to watch his beloved Wakefield play. And the way that he was describing it at first, I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I would imagine it being. But then him being a very nice guy turned it around to be, oh yeah, and I mean, the atmosphere was electric. You go, yeah, that's certainly what it sounds. Sounds like there's a lot of electrics going on at the Leigh Sports Village when anyone ever opens their mouths. There was a podcast filmed there, the Bench podcast. I can't remember the guest. I think it was the most recent one. But they were just stood near the flames, the pyrotechnics as they were practicing. And God, even that was just so loud. I mean, come on, guys. Anyway, so I started off last week. I mean, you can see the score there, 26-10. I think my prediction was something along the lines of 22-16 or something like that. So if that was true, then I wasn't that far off. But if that wasn't true, then I might have been miles off. I can't remember. Couple of names that I got kind of wrong. Leigh started with Joe Fingawe in at prop and Owen Trout in the second rows, which was kind of showed their intent, really, didn't it? That to just come out all guns blazing, big old attack, just fucking hit them where we can. Alec Tuizavake ended up on the bench, which I had him missing. I just didn't really see the need for him really with what they had. Ethan O'Neill moved to 18th man, which I was surprised at because he's been quite good all season. Missing out for the Leopards was Aaron Penney, Andy Badrock, Mr. Flintstone, and Ben McNamara. Wakey missing out, Kai Rodwell, Ollie Russell, Jack Croft. I got a couple wrong here for Wakefield. I think I obviously don't follow them enough to know that they were missing Max Jarrett as well, which was a big loss for them. When you miss such an influential player, you have to rearrange the team just because of styles. The style of a Josh Rourke game and a Max Jarrett game are very different. Wakefield are going to have to play very different, and indeed they did. So we had Kai Svartilli starting at prop, not coming off the bench, which again kind of showed Wakefield's intent. We're going to stick him here. Matty Staunton in second row. He's been covering at prop all season, so I thought they'd give him a run out at prop as well. Ronnie Fatoni on the bench. I thought he'd start. Seth Nicotima making it into the squad. I thought he'd miss. And Matthew Cozza in at 18th man. Ollie Pratt heading into the centre. So good on you, Pratty, if I call him that. So with these games this week, there wasn't loads of stats available. So I've kind of scrounged around on what I can. The stats that you see here are courtesy of the Wakefield Trinity Heritage podcast. Do go and listen to it. It's not just a podcast for Wakey fans. It's really good. They give a really good coverage, really good in-depth coverage of the Wakey games, of course, but they'll also weigh in on others. I think the stat that screams out here is the completion stat. 92% completion for Leigh, 58% completion for Wakefield. You cannot compete in a league game with 58% completion. So the bottom four of the top six playoffs, it was never going to happen. The interesting stat that those guys pointed out as well, again, thank you, I don't usually get stats of this quality. Time in the opposition's half, Wakefield only spent 4 minutes down there all game. Leigh, 17 minutes in Wakefield's half. So that's mad, isn't it? I mean, Wakefield are a team that can score a try from anywhere. They can score a try from their own half, but I mean, you got to spend some time down there to convert those chances, to create those chances, not let alone convert them. So stats aside, the game was entertaining. It was interesting. If you're a rugby league fan, it was interesting. If you're a Wakefield fan, it probably wasn't too pleasant for you to watch. Leigh came out all guns blazing. I've just gone through the team sheet there. They started big, and they meant it. And they were just punishing. You know, everybody was playing their position so well. Very well-oiled machine. And I think, so there was a point really early on in the game, I think it might have even been the first territorial kick for Leigh. Josh Griffin charged it down and didn't collect it. And just gave Leigh another set, and from then on the territory was just all off. You know, they never really had the territory. They were just defending really well, but defending an awful lot. And I wish I had those tackle numbers to give you, but I don't. A moment kind of summed it up for me, and it was quite early on. I think it was on about 22 minutes. So Leigh are already, I think 12-0 up at this, but maybe it's 6-0. Yeah, it's 6-0 up. This was for the second try. So Milo Hanley makes a great run, a darting run like he's wont to do. Heads out, you know, he's out there ducking, diving, dodging, ducking, diving, dodging. The defense scrambles, and it's one of those where, like, you just wonder, how the hell did you stop it? I think I even said to my wife out loud, how the hell did they stop him there? Because it's one of them where, like, we're an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. It was, and it just stopped right on the line. And Milo Hanley's chances are gone. Wakefield made an excellent effort. Leigh made an excellent effort. Two teams very evenly matched here at 6-0. but Leigh were just on to the next one, and the very next tackle, Isaac Liu just saunters over, just as easy as that. And it was kind of like, I think that sort of, looking back on it, I don't think at the time it was necessarily indicative of how the match had gone, but that sort of passage of play kind of summed it up for me, where, Wakefield put everything they could into that defensive effort, everything they had, and Leigh it was like, this isn't even my whole night. I'll just pass it on to the next guy and he'll score the try instead. Never mind. Okay, we got it. Onwards. I think, Wakefield missing players. I don't think that was really the difference. I don't know if a Max Jowett style play won that game either. Exciting things to take away for Wakefield, I think, is that firstly they got there. They got to the top 6, and that was their goal. And I think that, but when it was sort of becoming clear that they wouldn't necessarily have to fight for the goal, they maybe started to aim a little bit higher than just getting in the playoffs. And that very entitled to do that. The way they played against Hull KR, fantastic. But maybe that was sort of a bridge too far from. I don't know. I don't want to say that because Leigh are very, very good, and they just had the better of them that night, and they were missing players. So who am I to put labels on that? Massive tip of the cap for Wakefield as well, where they have to take some pride in the fact that because of their performance this year, they've attracted very good signings for next year. And Harvey Smith, I think, is going to be the next England hooker. He's going to be the next James Roby for sure. Like, the way that he was handling himself and handling the rest of the team and handling Tessie New on the field on Friday, he's a real talent. And I think, next season, they've got NRL hooker, I forget his name, hooker coming over from Australia. Very big signing. Again, like I said, credit to him. So Harvey Smith's got that little bit extra time to deputise, a little bit extra time to learn, because Liam Hood's been a great mentor to him by all accounts this year. Harvey Smith one day will be out there in it's blue and white now, isn't it? Not red and white. Playing for England, marshalling our troops, probably the rest of them, Keenan Brand and the likes around the England pitch, as long as he isn't Australian. I don't actually know. I don't think he is. Myla Hanley for sure, definitely one day. All right. Leigh 26, Wakefield 10. Leigh on to the next round. Wakefield season is over, but God, it's been a good one. Thanks Wakefield. I've really enjoyed seeing you this season. So let's move on to Saturday night. Oh, Saturday night. Oh, it was a good day for me Saturday. It was really good. I had a little bit of walk with the dog, took the kids out, just all with that 8 o'clock game just ticking away. The countdown just ticking away in my mind to that 8 o'clock game when the kids would be in bed and the beers would be cold. Have a little sip of that bit. So the team sheets, a couple of. I mean, I was pretty much spot on with Leeds, to be honest. I had James Bentley starting in the second row. They had Morgan Gannon. I just had those two the other way around. Cooper Jenkins makes it into the squad instead of, I think I had Presley Cassell on the bench. He obviously misses out. Joe Shark's in at 18th man. That was always going to be the case. He was just the best 18th man, I think, that they had access to. Jack Sinfield misses out. Max Simpson misses out. They were never going to make it into the squad, to be honest. It's just packed full of talent, isn't it, that Leeds squad? Saints missing Jake Burns, Kyle Felt, and Joe Batchelor. So I had Jake Burns an 18th man, Kyle Felt starting winger, and Joe Batchelor on the bench. So because of that, they actually brought in 3 of the 4 players that I said were going to miss. I knew that. Actually, no, it was all of them. Noah Stevens moved to 18th man. John Bennison got the call up to start the second week on the row. I think that's probably his 3rd starting all season. the perennial 18th man. Johnny Lomax made his way to number 7, starting. Good for him. Which put Moses behind the bench. George Delaney, James Bell, and Shane Wright. Shane Wright's second game was a big moment for him, being his second game for Saints. I thought Joe Batchelor, with the playoff experience, he would make it into the squad over Shane Wright, but he played well last week, so good on him. Now, if I'd have had my start, if Paul Wellens had rang me up on Friday and said, "Listen, Jim, I'm struggling here. Who are you putting in, man? Who's playing?" Saints would have scored 0 points, because none of my picks would have been on the field at the time when they scored points. But we'll get to that. Obviously, you see the score there, 14-16. Let's go into how it unfolded. So this was there was so much more to this game than the 80 minutes on the pitch. So, I mean, Leeds were the ultimate professionals coming into this. They were obviously going to win this game. They've got a pretty much full side. I mean, I basically guessed their side spot on, who they were going to pick and in what positions, with just that one tweak with the bench. Saints, on the other hand, Kyle Felt got back spasms before the match. Couldn't play. Obviously, he had them last week as well, but couldn't play. Daryl Clarke got clotheslined, I think it's fair to say, or hit pretty high early on. So he was missing for quite a chunk of that game. And Matty Lees left at half-time. He just went. I was literally just saying to my wife, "Man, we really need Matty Lees and Morgan Knowles to step up on this one." And I was like, "What? Who was that? What was he doing? Was he wearing that t-shirt?" And then it was, Matty Lees' wife is in labour, so he's gone. He's going. So I'm just sat there going, for fuck's sake, not even Matty Lees is up for this. Jesus. So, needless to say, I wasn't super confident about this one, particularly at half-time. What was it, 12-6 at half-time, I think? Something like that. Maybe it was... No, I don't think it was 6-all. At 76 minutes, it's... 14-6. I headed to the bathroom. On my way down from the bathroom, I was like, God, I'm just going to I'm just going to be biased about this one. I'm just going to be so biased because the ref's been so biased, and just being a classic sort of, half-drunk, belligerent supporter. Crack myself another beer. I was like, I'm going to regret this in the morning, but I need to drown my sorrows. And God, how glad I was to have that drink in my hand on 81 minutes into the game, because something amazing happened. I think so. We'll put all that aside. There's quite a bit of controversy surrounding this game, which I'll talk about. I'm probably spend a little bit more time on this one than the Leigh one. But I'll deal with the game itself first. Okay. I think Leeds probably were the better side. One of the commentators said at one point, I forget which one it was, said that Leeds have pretty much been getting the 50-50 decisions all night. That was probably halfway, maybe 60 minutes, 50 minutes into the game. And I did agree with them when they said it, but obviously I am biased. I'm a Saints fan, so it's difficult to put any weight on that. Of course I thought that, because I'm sat there at home and my side are losing, so of course I would think that. Leeds were pretty dominant all game. I thought they had a pretty good... I mean, Jake Connor was marshalling everyone as usual. Lackey Miller didn't really do as much as he would normally do. I don't know if that was a tactic of, preserve your energy, because they know Saints haven't really got that good of a kicking game anyway, so they probably can't plan to sort of bounce off those kicks. So a lot of Connor's skill was like right up on the line, and it was largely good, largely effective. But I will say something that I noticed watching it back a second time was, I think just probably it's a miscalculation. It's not a mistake, but a miscalculation that Connor played is that he was going. There was a general rule of thumb if you look at the match. He was going high to his right and low to his left on the line. So high to Percival and who's on the other wing? Cross, and low to Bennison, Robertson, Lomax. I guess maybe the justification for that is Kyle Felt is pretty good at the high ball, so you don't want to go high to that side because he's going to claim it. So if you're going to mix the two up, we'll go high to Cross, who's not really known for that part of his game. Neither really is Percival. And Wellesby, yeah, okay, whatever. And we'll go low to the inexperienced side, Robertson, blah, blah, blah. But I think the miscalculation they made, and this comes back to something I mentioned last week, is little did they expect, but on that wing, on that right-hand wing of Saints, there was Bennison, Robertson, and Lomax, who I'm pretty sure have all played fullback for Saints. I mean, Lomax has played fullback for England, so they're all fullbacks. So they were all really ready to maneuver and mop up those low balls, those little chip grubber kicks. That's kind of what they do. It's sort of in their game. It's in their repertoire. So I think that Lomax and Bennison particularly did an amazing job at mopping all those up. Now, they didn't always get them back in the field of play, but there were no tries came from that. There were no tries down that end of the field. And really, when you look at the players that they had over there, Lomax hasn't had the best year. Bennison's been playing at Widnes all year. And Robertson, yes, is a very talented young man, but he's not in good company for those high scrambling balls. I think the low balls were just exactly what they wanted to receive. And that's why Leeds, I think, didn't get a try or two extra that they were expecting. Jake Connor got man of the match, which I think is fine. But given what happened, I think they probably could have declined the interview if he wanted to, because he was stunned. Everybody was stunned at this. And he's just stood there sort of congratulating his teammates on a good season, and I'm sorry it's ended, but he literally had like 30 seconds to or maybe a couple of minutes to sort of process the fact that, shit, the season's over. We were just winning like a minute ago and now it's over. So I think it's fair enough. I'm not against the losing team getting man of the match. My mum was pissed off that they did, but I think it's fine. He was the best player, so he should get man of the match. A little bit weird to do the interview. Saints, what does Saints take from this? So a worry for me, and I'll talk about this later on in the week when I preview the next game against Hull KR. Saints weren't perfect in attack again. Still, there were a couple of really magic moments. One in particular, which we all know now as the left to right try. But there was more than that. Siranen catching the ball on the full from the kick from Wellesby. Lomax just being there all the time to mop up any passes that get thrown his way. Anyone that needed support, Lomax was there all night. Bennison. So there was a moment, I think it was like 68 minutes, where Bennison gets bowled into touch or gets pushed into touch. A schoolyard push into touch by Connor. And okay, that wasn't a try on that moment, but if Kyle Felt was stood in that position, he scores that try. So as long as Saints know how they got the ball over to that wing in the first place, I think they're okay on that one. an area of concern for me, and it remains that way, and it will do until next year, and hopefully not after, is that they were basically playing on Saturday with 2 standoffs and a wild card out the back, meaning their aerial attack and short kicking game was basically nothing. Sailor at the back was a bit of a... I mean, he wasn't a liability, but it was just not... It wasn't electric, was it? Right up until the end. And that's why it's so hard to talk about this, because something amazing happened, but that was like 10 seconds of the match. The rest of the match, you still have to deconstruct it, because it's not going to happen next week. Oh, if it does, I mean, God. All right, so 16-14, Saints clinch it literally after the buzzer, with a try after the buzzer. A couple of controversies that I'll try to steamroll through, because you have to talk about them. So, Leeds knock-ons. In the first half, in the first 10-15 minutes, Leeds were knocking on for fun, and I've highlighted some of them here. Miller, I think Jenkins, Hankinson's was pulled up, that's fine. There was a forward pass as well to Miller from Jenkins. I can't remember. But Leeds were knocking on there and everywhere, and none of them were picked up. And that's what the commentators were talking about on those 50-50 calls. It was Leeds got them. And I think this comes down to kind of like all weekend, the refs were very hands-off, very like, okay, well, I'm not just going to pull it up for the sake of it. And I think there was another point in a minute that I'll get to, but just letting stuff play out and then blowing the whistle afterwards so as not to disrupt the spectacle, I guess, which is good. But stuff like this gets ignored, and you can start to get a bit aggrieved and start to get a bit pissed off as a fan if you feel hard done to. But it's on both sides, so whatever. A couple of images there of the knock-ons. Images of the knock-ons. The Lomax try. So this was interesting. So first off, good on Sheridan, just fucking catching the ball, beating Ryan Hall to an aerial ball. Great, that can go on his CV. He then gets the ball out to Morgan Knowles, who really does fumble it. He wasn't meaning to do that. But as he drops it, he kicks it. And he means to kick it. So it goes up to the video ref. Lomax scores the try, by the way, off the back of this. And you can see there on the image that it hasn't hit the floor yet and it's about to hit his boot. Now, there's probably another image you can look at that makes it look like it did hit the floor. But on the footage, referee's looking at it, it looks like there's clear separation between the ball and the ground when it's kicked. The phrase that Chris Kendall kept using, the video ref, was, is that a purposeful kick, I think, or a deliberate kick? Which, I think, does that matter? So if I drop the ball and it hits my foot before it hits the floor, I'm pretty sure that's okay, isn't it? In the same vein as, like, if I go to put the ball down and it hits my knee and it comes out for that, then it's a knockout. I suppose it's not really the same thing. Either way, Lomax's try has gone controversial because at this moment, he bloody dropped it. Oh, Lomax was just there, just ready to fall over. Morgan Knowles kicked it. It was a try. That's fine. Daryl Clarke's clothesline. Okay, again, another couple of images of this bad boy here. Daryl Clarke got a flagrant, in my opinion, high tackle. Again, the referee let it go. A couple of images there. One looks pretty bad. One looks okay. The referee didn't do anything, didn't even look at it. Just straight up penalty, carry on, get on with it. Jenkins then went on to do, I think, another 2 more high tackles and got nothing. 2 of them were on his own try line. And to me, that was a bit egregious because just a week before, I think it was Romain Navarrete, got a yellow card just because he was there when an infringement was made, and it was like, right, I'm sorry, look, someone's going off for this because you just keep making infringements. And at that point of the game, that was Jenkins' third high tackle on their own line, and there was a third penalty in a row, maybe fourth penalty in a row on their own line. Saints didn't do anything with it. Connor ended up intercepting it, I think, because he was man of the match, of course. But that was another little controversy there for you. Saints Captain Challenge. I haven't found any images of this yet, so maybe I'll put them in, maybe I won't. But this is, I think it was Ash Hanley scored a try, and it was a try, given as a try. Saints Captains challenged it, and it's pretty obvious that someone, I can't remember who, maybe Bentley, runs straight into Lomax, and that's how Hanley got through the line. Now, there's been a lot of press after this game talking about these controversies, how they developed, what happened. And, you know, one of the lines was, oh, and also Leeds were aggrieved at the disallowed try. And I just think, yeah, they were aggrieved. I would be pissed off if I got a disallowed try too, but that doesn't mean it wasn't against the rules. I mean, there are two reasons why that try gets disallowed. One is because you've obstructed the defender and you just broke the rules. One is you've obstructed the defender and you've caused the try. And that was what was deemed by the video ref sufficient evidence and all that. So, like, you can be as aggrieved as you want. Don't obstruct people, don't knock them out the line. So that to me was a little bit clear cut, and it's just, it comes to the thing I'm going to talk about next of just people piling on. So let's have a look at this one. The Bennison try. So I mentioned earlier that Bennison was bowled into touch at one point. Schoolyard bullied into touch by Connor, man of the match. Cracking game. But there was a point where he did get the ball down. He makes a little dip back in field, which he is wont to do. I don't really think he's a winger, to be honest, but he's had number 5 for a couple of years now and played 4 times in it. There's a point where he's getting tackled, he reaches out, he goes for the line. So I've got a couple of images here. So first off, you can see on the images that Jack Smith has got the best seat in the house for this. Okay, he's got a better view than Bennison has, because Bennison's head's kind of in his shoulder. And the defenders aren't really looking at it. The only person who might have a similar view is maybe Daryl Clarke, I think, who stood next to him. Robertson, maybe. So even with that view, right, Jack Smith says, I don't think that was a try, but I'm just going to ask the video ref what they think. Video ref, like they do, they have access to all kinds of angles, don't they? So they check a few of them. Now, remember, he's front and centre, so he's largely seen what happened. He just doesn't know whether it hit the line and then was pulled back and then hit the line again, or whether it was short of the line and then pushed over for a double movement. That's his call, I believe. Either way, he's not asking the video ref, like, listen, mate, I don't know what happened. He's saying, I just want to be crystal clear that ball did not hit that line, because if it did, that's a try, okay? And I think that this is part of a larger thing in that refs either aren't or shouldn't be asking the video ref to confirm their on-field decision. They should be asking them what happened, maybe even without a decision. So video ref takes a look and gets one nice angle, the one that you can see there on the left-hand side of the screen, I think, yeah, where the ball clearly touches the line first. And there are other angles, less good angles similar to those that Jack Smith had, that look like the ball didn't hit the line first. And that's the point of me using stills here and not footage. Because I bet, as I've been going through this, you've seen stills of all these things that I'm talking about, and you've gone, that doesn't look that bad, or bloody hell, that looks terrible. And it'll probably largely depend on whether you're a Leeds fan or a Saints fan. The point is, they got a really good angle of the ball touching the line. So he said, yeah, the ball touched the line on that one. I definitely saw it touch the line. That to me is evidence. Send it down. It doesn't matter what your stills say, how they look. The referee, Chris Kendall, saw it touch the line, right? It doesn't matter. Like, if you saw a video of me murdering someone, but then there were loads of other videos where it didn't look like where I didn't murder someone, you still saw me murder someone, right? And maybe that's a bit of a hyperbolic example, but, you know, this is it. I guess my point here is, right, the RFL have come out and said that try shouldn't have been given because that doesn't constitute sufficient evidence because he only checked one angle, or only one angle confirmed it. I disagree with that, okay. And him saying that it shouldn't have been given, that shouldn't have overturned the on-field decision, fine, whatever. But what the RFL have not said is that wasn't a try. They haven't actually, to my knowledge, disputed Chris Kendall's verdict of, yes, the ball touched the line first there before anything else. All they've done is said, listen, Chris, I know what you saw, but that's not really how we do things. So what they're saying is technically the way things are set up, that shouldn't have been given. And fine, the way things are set up for a reason. But they haven't said it wasn't a try. So calling Saints cheats and all that and posting stills, just stop it, because it's throwing a massive cloud. And I understand Leeds fans being aggrieved. I understand Wigan fans being aggrieved because they don't want Saints in the final or whatever. I understand all these things. The fact is, the ball touched the line. Chris Kendall said it did. So it did. It was given as a try. It was. And it's throwing a massive cloud over a great victory and the thing that happened next, which is the left to right, the wide to right, wide to west 2, whatever it is, which I'm not going to go over at this point really too much because I'm already way into this video. This is one of the best tries you'll ever see. It's 16 passes, I think 8 players. There's a great video there of Alex Walmsley just not touching the ball at all during this passage of play, which is good. That's where I want him in a play like this. 16 passes, 8 players, 11 defenders basically on 2 players, Harry Robertson and Tristan Saylor. First off, Robertson deserves Man of Steel for what he did. Tristan Saylor deserves a Clown College degree for what he did, throwing that pass out. Matt Whitley deserves a week off for passing like that. And Shane Wright deserves congratulations, because at first I thought, God, he really just put the ball down, didn't he? He didn't really do much there, but he did. He actually created this in the first instance. There were 3 real people who created this. Shane Wright for actually continuing with the play, for refusing to go down in the first instance. I think he was second receiver in this passage of play. He passes it out and it makes its way over to the left-hand wing of Robertson. Robertson put the foundations of this in. Without him, it doesn't happen. And I don't think anybody else in that position it happens. It has to be him. It has to be then. And then Tristan Saylor, what the fuck was he doing? Why did he make that pass? And when I saw it happen, I was like, no, Saylor, what have you done? Little did I know, Matt Whitley can catch. And he fucking throws it on. Shane Wright gets the ball down. It's a lovely, wonderful try. And we should be celebrating that instead of bitch moaning and complaining about whether the video ref saw the thing right or saw the thing better than Jack Smith did, even though Jack Smith asked him to see it better than he did. Rant over. Left to right. We go on to next week now. A couple of days' time. I'll be breaking down these fixtures for you. Wigan versus Leigh, the Battle of the Borough. Yet again, over at the Brick Community Stadium. Luckily, Leigh can get the bus from Leigh to Wigan. Hull KR versus Saints. This is a perennial game this year because it's happened 3 times now, and 3 times it's been exactly the same. So I'm hoping, praying, Lord, for a different result on that one. So enjoy the next couple of days. I know I will. And I'll be back later in the week with my predictions for those wonderful fixtures. Have a good one.